Hey, welcome to the Rerun Lounge. I'm Remy, and do episodes of shows ever make you uncomfortable? And I don't mean a singular skit that skeeves you out, or a little line that gets you looking the other way. I'm talking about an entire episode that eats at you. When I was a kid, this yellow sitcom family was a big source of comfort for me. The Simpsons was my favorite show. I could barely go a day without poorly reciting jokes from the show, as if it was equally as funny having someone explain it to you as it would be watching it yourself. My parents knew it was time for an awkward narration of something I found funny when they would hear the dreaded words, "This one time on The Simpsons?" Well, my poor retellings must have angered the Simpsons gods, because there was a particular episode that had me squirming in my seat. The Simpsons is no stranger to gnarly sights, violence, or implied body horror.
Oh no, my brains.
The show was a product of the 90s, and the 90s was the time of gross out humor. Or was it the 80s? Anyway, it may not be my favorite type of humor, but it only made sense that it would eventually leak into The Simpsons. None of this particularly makes me uncomfortable. In fact, I think it adds a lot of character, especially with how strategic the writers implemented it. Sometimes a vile visual that stirs your soul can help tie you to the emotion of a moment.
You won't be needing this.
Whoa, cool. I heart this scene. It's one thing to describe heartbreak, it's another thing to show it. As disturbing as this scene may be, it is fleeting. The episode I want to cover today, though, doesn't so much have gross out humor as much as it has gross without humor. And it is not fleeting. It is a distressing 22-minute long ride through Worriesville with a pit stop at the Anxiety Shop. So, loungers, this one time on The Simpsons, the entire episode made me feel very uncomfortable. My Sister, My Sitter. It's the 17th episode of the 8th season, and one that I try to avoid. 17, that's the unluckiest number. In this episode, Lisa is left to babysit Bart and Maggie while Homer and Marge attend a gala at the
South Street Squidport, an upscale shopping promenade with authentic maritime theming.
Springfield Squidport. Apparently that's a thing. It's a seemingly fine premise that sets up for a lot of Bart and Lisa's antics. I'm immediately reminded of the scene where Bart steals Grandpa's teeth and gets into some trouble, all while Lisa encourages him. Don't get your hopes up for anything lighthearted though. This episode chose to walk the path of darkness. The show opens up with Eye on Springfield. Love that show. And has clever foreshadowing of what is to come.
Okay, how many of you are here for shoulder surgery, huh?
Surely this is intentional, right? Right? Nah, it has to be. The plot gets rolling when we see Lisa with her on and off friend Janie reading The Babysitter Twins, a fictional book series which is essentially if the Hardy Boys and the Babysitters Club also had babies. Old Starfish Head is taken with the mysticism of the ancient art of child wrangling.
I love everything about the world of babysitting. The responsibility, the obligation, the pressure.
And decides it is time to become a teenage girl way too soon and experience the treacheries of babysitting. Unsurprisingly, no one is interested in the 8-year-old child sitting service because, well, she's an 8-year-old child. It isn't until Ned finds himself in a cucumber most pickled.
Homer, I've got a fozzie of a bear of a problem. Maud and her mother were visiting Tyre and Sidon, the twin cities of the Holy Land. They must have kneeled in the wrong place and prayed to the wrong god because, well, they're being held prisoner by militants of some sort.
And needs an emergency sitter that all sanity is thrown out the window.
What do you say, Homer? Can Lisa babysit for my kids?
Please, please, please.
After she watches his God-fearing goblins, Nettie is impressed and spreads the word that hiring an 8-year-old child to watch your own kids isn't batshit insane. This lands her many more gigs, including one from her parents, so that they can attend the gala at the Squidport. Everything is coming up Lisa as she rakes in $1 an hour.
$2 after 9 o'clock.
Normally I'd be happy for the kid, but I'm starting to get that sinking feeling in my gut. So, here we go. Bart, in 90s Big Brother fashion, doesn't take well to the new sitter and proceeds to make the night a living hell for her. He begins with, this.
Gaga, goo goo. You need a bib. Oh, baby, hey, bib. Wah, wah.
Not your best material, El Barto, but I'm sure you have someone out there rolling on the floor. The spiky-haired devil further antagonizes Lisa by feeding Maggie a ton of coffee ice cream, thus hopping her up on caffeine for the rest of the night.
Well, I guess that'll make things more interesting for you now, won't it?
And then continues by summoning a crowd of strangers with a series of prank calls, including a call for delivery of a supersized submarine sandwich, hiring Krusty the Clown for an emergency bachelor party, calling 911 in need of a sisterectomy, and even claiming that Lisa saw a UFO. In a fit of rage, Lisa disperses this crowd before going to deal further with Bart. Normally, I would consider all of these Bart-tastic pranks, and I'll give kudos to the sisterectomy gag. Kudos. Though, with the target being a stressed Lisa who is dealing with a baby who has the zoomies and is just trying to do a good job, the fun pranks come off more mean-spirited than usual.
Oh.
And honestly, a little exhausting to watch. When I see this,
If you come down, I'll give you some more coffee. Lots more coffee.
I'm not filled with laughter. I'm filled with discomfort. And when I see this,
I thought I told you to go to bed. Yeah, right, bread. You said go to bread. You didn't say which bed. Go to your bed. Make me.
I'm filled with frustration. Lisa, who is understandably pushed to her limits, lunges at Bart a couple times, but the final time, he loses his balance. And
Oh my god.
Lisa's shocked utterance of "oh my god" as she looks at Bart's motionless body makes this moment have a much more dire atmosphere. And the tension is dialed up a notch after Bart regains consciousness and the big reveal happens.
Ew, your arm, it's got extra corners. Yeah.
Yep, this loose limb is going to be here for a while, so get comfy, if that is even possible at this point. Bart's dislocated shoulder and large bump on his head are not played for physical humor either. Well, there is some attempt at comedy involving Bart's arm.
Oh, cool. It must be dislocated or something. Don't you want everyone to see what a responsible babysitter you were? Stop it.
But I don't think it quite hits in my opinion. My nerves at this point are already too wound up, and the try at gross out humor falls more into the gross without humor area for me. Elsewhere, while Lisa is in over her head, Marge and Homer are in the B plot, touring the gala. It is a brief breather from the building madness, and it takes up a minority of the episode. There are some Simpson-y jokes thrown in here or there. I wouldn't call it prime material, but it is material.
Isn't that clever? It looks like a Cadillac drove right into the building.
Help me.
Just you wait, guys. There is a really clever tie-in with the A-plot at the end of the episode. Back at the House of Horrors, Bart has locked himself in his room while his frazzled sister tries pleading with him to open the door.
Come on, open the door.
She has no such luck. Instead, Bart starts banging the door back at her. Oh, that's not so bad. A bit immature, not really funny, but ultimately harmless like, whoa. This feels wrong to watch. Between Bart's dangling arm, its gross noises,
Oh, cool. It must be dislocated or something. We have a responsible babysitter you were. Stop it. And you'll never babysit again.
and his now insistence on worsening the injuries. I'm dead. Please spare my kokoro. I'm begging you. When I saw this episode as a kid, I watched it during its premiere, so I didn't know where it was going with the plot. Up to this point, I was stressed from the tiring onslaught of bullying Lisa, distressing visuals, and serious injury to Bart. With only about 8 minutes left to go, the episode can't waste any time. We next learn that Bart has knocked himself unconscious in his locked room, leaving Lisa to find an alternative way in. I swear, there is no way they can ante up at this point. We have reached the climax of anxiety. Oh shit. Yes, Lisa loads up her unconscious brother in a wheelbarrow and tosses Maggie in a pet carrier to prevent her from jabbing Bart's face. You see, due to Bart's earlier prank phone calls to 911, they have refused to help.
Look, we've already been out there tonight for a cysterectomy, a case of severe butt rot, and a leprechaun fight. How dumb do you think we are?
Her next bet is to call Dr. Hibbert, but Lisa's fear of being pegged as a bad babysitter gets in the way, so she settles for the quack, Dr. Nick.
Oh, and I'm sure he's as good as Dr. Hibbert. It says so right in his ad.
And starts on her way. If everything wasn't already absolutely disturbing and hard to watch, the following scene has always sent chills down my spine.
Please, Maggie. Please, go to sleep.
There is no control here. There is only desperation and uncertainty. The episode has devolved into a chaotic mess. Can Dr. Nick fix this? No, he can't. Dr. Nick's office is too busy, so Lisa goes elsewhere and runs into a slightly more reputable person, Police Chief Wiggum. Though Lisa does not want Bart and Maggie to be discovered, in fear of ruining her reputation and missing out on that sweet, sweet $1 an hour.
$2 after 9 o'clock.
After the heat is off, we discover Bart has rolled down the nearby slope and Lisa chases after his limp body. The three kids end up muddied and beaten with no hope left.
Oh, Bart, I'm so sorry. This is all like a bad dream.
Oh, you don't say. Now, here is the clever tie-in for both the A plot and B plot. It turns out they are, gasp, just below the Springfield squid port. Okay. I know it's not clever at all. It actually comes off as a bit forced. Homer and Marge could be at the power plant on a tour, and Lisa could wheelbarrow her near-corpse brother there to tie in with the B-plot. Now, back to the exciting conclusion. Mayor Quimby, about to give a speech at the gala, points out the spectacle below.
What the hell is that?
Hey, I thought the same thing. The town is disgusted and horrified with what they see, and blame Lisa for killing Bart and attempting to drown Maggie while on a drug-fueled rampage.
Give me the drugs, Lisa.
Dad, I'm not on drugs.
Imagine tuning in and only seeing this part of the episode without context. Well, anyway, our trip through Worriesville ends here. What did you get at the anxiety shop? I got some nervous nuggets and a panic pastry for dessert. But the trip isn't over yet. We are about to head into Rushed Conclusion City. Flash forward to the next day, Bart is treated and he apologizes.
I'm sorry I was such a jerk last night.
Lisa's career as a babysitter ends.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Well, until some adults find their hands tied needing a sitter and she is quickly back in business. It's an end. There are no consequences for Bart, only a tarnished reputation for Lisa. Did Maggie's infant heart explode from a caffeine overdose? Let's say yes. This episode is not awful. It's bad though. It's straight up bad. I have seen some real stinkers from The Simpsons though, a lot worse than this. This episode is just extremely disturbing and kinda tough to watch. Not to mention, the parts at the gala did feel a little brain dead. There are almost no clever or witty gags that I expect from that era of The Simpsons. Bart's normally entertaining hijinks don't come off as so this time. He just seems like a bully. A lot of his behaviors are just grating at times too. His immaturity level was definitely ramped up to get on Lisa's nerves, and it really shows. The episode is not without its merits, however. To be fair, the first third of the episode was pretty okay. Not every joke hit, but the ones that did were pretty good. Lisa's pride as a babysitter made for an interesting plot point. She truly valued the trust that everyone put into her and felt that part of her job was selling security and peace of mind to parents worried about their children.
I don't just babysit, I sell peace of mind for $1 an hour.
It became such a concern to her that she began to value her image as a trustworthy sitter to the point that she became very dishonest herself in trying to hide anything that went wrong. She very well could have called Dr. Hibbert to remedy the situation, but as Lisa said,
Thank you, Dr. Hibbert. Your trust means so much to me.
This episode had potential in that area and could have played out as an episode that further explored Lisa's conflict of her image versus her creed as a sitter. Unfortunately, any hints of this budding idea were trounced by lackluster Bart antics, uncomfortable body horror that went on too long, and anxiety-ridden situations. Well, I don't have much more to say. My Sister, My Sitter leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and almost feels like a sadistic fanfiction. All in all, I would say this episode is a must-watch. Yeah, maybe you didn't expect me to say that. Or maybe you did, you clever devil. But it isn't every day that you see an episode of The Simpsons that is this jarring. I personally consider this a Simpsons oddity for its sheer disturbing nature. Well, at least considering the time it was released anyway. Now go watch this freakish masterpiece and let it rattle your soul too. Also, thanks for sticking around till the end. Sorry if my voice seems a little off. I think the weather is starting to get to me. I also hope you liked my new look. If you enjoyed your stay, please consider liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment below. It was great chilling with you, and I hope to see you return to the Rerun Lounge.